It's just weird being here again all these years later.
I'm sure it is.
This very garden where we were standing playing guitars and stuff. And there's the old gate. I think it is the old gate as well.
My dad still loves sitting out in the sun. That's what I kind of recollect.
I've got memories of my dad just sitting here.
Aye.
Having a fag.
So you think you're so clever, never in doubt, but I've seen you together, put it about. Don't get me wrong now, I'm saying what you are. Mommy wouldn't like it, it's gone too far.
What's the use of singing this song? Some of you aren't even listening.
So who was the first to say the Undertones don't exist anymore, or if they do, I'm not one of them?
Fergal.
Yeah.
He announced after the Sin of Pride we were on tour and promoting the LP. I think we were in Sweden. And he just said, I don't want to do this anymore. He said, I'm leaving the band. And I remember just thinking, we were all kind of
Relieved.
So you're relieved, not...
it was in the air for ages because we were
Just needed
playing
some-
half capacity halls and it was just demoralising.
You just needed somebody to say it.
Somebody to say.
We knew that Fergal was uneasy. He wasn't happy. We knew that he had started to develop almost different tastes in music, or else maybe we were too critical of his taste in music. And by 1983, he just got fed up with it. He obviously realised he didn't have to be in a group of five where people are criticising what he wore, what he said, and what he listened to.
The last couple of years in the Undertones for all of us was very difficult. And again, being honest about it, I would suspect that the conversations generally tried to revolve around, well, can you turn that up a bit or can you turn that down a bit?
Thank you. Thank you.
There is an awful lot of wounds there, and they will perhaps take an awful lot of time to heal, if at all they ever do get healed.
Tends to be the case that the longer things go on, the longer they go on.
I think it's more, has anybody got the motivation to go and heal them at this point in time? And I suspect that may not necessarily be the case, which is, that's okay too. The simple truth was that we all made that decision back in the early 80s.
There was a divide between Fergal and the rest of us, I would say, from day one. There are a couple of simple things. He worked. He had a job with Radio Rentals. We didn't. He had a bit of money. We didn't. He was earning £35 a week. We were earning £20 a week. He had a car. He didn't write the songs. And whenever we were actually in the band and professional and so on, there was almost a feeling that we had to watch him, which is really bad attitude when I look back on it. But he would say some things in interviews perfectly within his rights. It's what he really thought. But the rest of us would sort of go, shouldn't have said that.
Certainly when I left the band, I had absolutely no idea what the hell I was going to do. I know an awful lot of people, at some point I got the impression some people thought I'd some sort of huge master plan concocted, that I was just going to walk out of the band and go and follow stages 1, 2 and 3 and it would all be absolutely fantastic, and I just hadn't a clue.
We had no long-term sort of
plan.
whatever,
I think we were just grateful to get that far. Even
we've probably never seen further than the first LP, haven't we?
No.
But that was sort of part of that punk ethic, because we used to have bands who'd do a session and then break up. So they sort of just, you'd phone them a few months later and ask if they wanted to do it. No, they said, we've broken up. And we did the session, so that's fine. We can go back to back to the farm.
I hear a lot of stories, I suppose they could be true, all about love and what it can do to you. How is there a risk of striking out, the risk of getting hurt, and still I have so much to learn.
And what about your solo tunes? Because I mean, do people give them? Do they give you any credit for those now?
They probably come in from sort of a bit of a bashing from certain old hardcore Undertones fans, which I can completely understand, and it's perfectly reasonable.
You're proud of them yourself?
Unbelievably so. I can still turn on radio stations all over the world and hear a good heart being played.
That must be good.
It's stunning. I mean, what more does any musician want out of life? And it was always something, even from the earliest days, that when we were getting the band together, we kind of wanted to try and achieve that in 20, 30, 40, 50 years' time, people would still find some validity to what you'd done. Even if it was just as pure entertainment and background noise, the fact that they're even willing to accept it that far and not just dismiss it utterly as complete drivel and dross, it's an achievement all in itself.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now I've got a cousin called Kevin. He's sure to go to heaven. Always spotless, clean and neat, as smooth as you'll get him. He's got a fur-lined sheepskin jacket.
1983 was a terrible year.
And
And I was in the doldrums. That was my worst period personally in my life. I broke up with my girlfriend, and the Undertones had broken up. I was broke. And I was living in London, expensive rent and all that, and not knowing many people, so it was dreadful. Unfortunately, what saved me then was John Raymond coming over and playing me their songs, not Petrol Motions, early Petrol Motion songs, and it just blew me away, going, wow. And that's what started me again, getting enthusiastic about music and the gang mentality again of that Petrol Motion, of the band, Dairy Boys again and all that stuff. It was great, it was really great.
We have, of course, welcomed Ash back to the studio, but that alone would be exciting. But then, what about if they did an Undertones song? And what about if they did that Undertones song with an undertone like Damien O'Neill? Aha! Well, that's exactly what they're going to do now. Please welcome, with Damien O'Neill, Ash.